Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, we've got a truly wild one for you today. Normally, when you think about a cutting-edge artificial intelligence being hacked, you probably picture, a dark room full of cybercriminals rapidly typing complex green glowing code onto black screens, right? Well, throw that image completely out the window. Security researchers have just discovered that to hack some of the most advanced AI systems on the planet, you don't need a cryptographic masterclass. You literally just need to trick the AI into playing a clever little puzzle game. So what does this all mean? What if a simple puzzle game could actually brainwash your AI? I mean, it sounds like the plot of a sci-fi psychological thriller, doesn't it? But this is happening right now in the real world. Top-tier AI assistants, the ones we trust to manage our emails, our calendars, and even our bank accounts, are being completely manipulated, utterly brainwashed, without a single traditional hacking technique being used. They're willingly handing over sensitive user data to attackers simply because they think they're playing a game. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the game that hacks AI. Fiction versus reality. To really understand this exploit, we have to rewind to a classic piece of pop culture, the legendary 2007 video game BioShock. In that game, the main character is unknowingly subjected to mind control. Every time someone says the phrase, "Would you kindly," the character is forced to execute the command. Absolutely no free will. Well, a senior cybersecurity researcher at LayerX named Roy Paz looked at this exact mind control mechanic and had a crazy thought. Could he literally brainwash an AI agent using the same concept? Like, could he create a fictional scenario so convincing that the AI would just blindly follow any command given to it? And just listen to this quote, because it brilliantly illustrates how that video game metaphor bridged directly into a terrifying real-world vulnerability. Roy Paz notes, once the agents figured out the rules and learned that incorrect actions are acceptable, they were no longer tied to reality. That is just staggering. By simply creating a game with twisted rules, researchers completely severed the AI's connection to the real world. Moving right along to Section 2, how BioShocking actually works. Breaking down context manipulation. So we need to ground ourselves in a really critical concept here, and it's called context manipulation. Basically, this means changing the mental framework, or the environment, that the AI model perceives it's operating in. We're dealing with what are known as agentic browsers. These are browsers powered by AI that can autonomously do complex tasks for you, like online shopping. Now, normally, hackers try something called prompt injection, which is basically sneaking a malicious command into an input. But context manipulation, it takes this to a completely different psychological level. Let's compare these two methods, just to put things into perspective. On the left, you've got traditional prompt injection. Think of this like walking straight up to a bank guard and saying, "Hey, forget your orders, let me into the vault." The guard, which represents the AI's security guardrails, will almost always recognize the threat and just say no. But on the right, we have BioShocking. This is context manipulation. You don't ask the guard to open the vault. Instead, you convince the guard that the bank is actually a movie set, and the two of you are just actors rehearsing a heist scene. Because the guard believes the context is entirely fictional, they happily open the vault, totally convinced the real-world rules no longer apply.
Let's actually walk through how this builds step by step during a real attack. First up is entry, where the user asks the AI to play a puzzle game. Next is reverse learning, and this is where it's just wild. The game asks the AI, "What is 2 plus 2?" The AI says 4, and it loses a point. Then it answers 5, and the game celebrates, "Great job, you earn a point." Over several rounds, the AI realizes the rules are completely reversed. Next comes the context shift. The AI now fully believes it's operating in a fictional world where bad is good. Then, data extraction. The game asks the AI to win the final level by going to a GitHub repository, reading the code, and copying the user's private passwords. And because the AI thinks it's just a fun game, its security guardrails are deactivated. Finally, transmission. It hands those passwords right over to the hacker's server. Boom, game over.
Which brings us to Section 3, vulnerable browsers, industry silence, a 9-month security gap. LayerX tested 6 of the primary, most popular AI browsers out there. The results? Every single one of them was easily fooled by the BioShocking attack. But now look at the patch status. OpenAI successfully patched ChatGPT Atlas. Good for them. But look right below that. Perplexity Comet? Perplexity completely closed the report and flatly refused to take action, leaving their users entirely exposed. Anthropic currently has an incomplete patch for Claude, and Fellow, Genspark, and Sigma, not even a response.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the timeline. Layer X sent this vulnerability report to these companies way back in October 2025. By July 2026, we're talking 9 months later, folks, 3 companies are still entirely silent, and Perplexity has actively ignored it. I mean, in the traditional software world, critical vulnerabilities are patched in a matter of days. In the AI industry, we're looking at a 9-month gap of absolute silence. It really highlights a dangerous, almost Wild West lack of security standards right now. Let's move to Section 4, Real-World Nightmare Scenarios and Why This Matters to You. Okay, here's the first terrifying scenario: enterprise espionage. Imagine you're at work using your AI assistant to draft emails and analyze some documents. A sophisticated attacker sends you a link to what looks like a totally legitimate business intelligence tool. You ask your AI to analyze it. The AI falls right into the BIOSHOCKING trap. Within the context of this tool, it's instructed to collect all your confidential company documents, trade secrets, and financial reports and just blindly send them to an external server. Your incredibly helpful AI assistant just committed corporate espionage, all while thinking it was doing a great job completing a task.
And it gets even worse when we look at our finances. Imagine an AI that you've authorized to manage your crypto wallet or, pay your bills. A hacker creates a financial game, basically a fake trading simulator. As your AI agent plays the game to win points for you, it's actually executing real, completely unauthorized cryptocurrency trades or bank transfers behind the scenes. Because the AI believes the transactions are just part of the simulator, the standard security warnings are completely ignored. You could literally lose thousands before you even realize an attack is happening. No way you want that, right? So let's talk solutions. Section 5, Protecting Your Digital Life, the Layered Defense Model. So the crucial point is, what can we do right now? Here are 5 rapid-fire defense strategies from Layer X that you can implement immediately to lock this down. 1. Limit your AI agent's access to highly sensitive services like your bank or main email account. 2. Turn on manual approval. Make the AI ask for your permission before it accesses private data. 3. Use completely separate browsers. Keep your banking on one browser and your AI agent entirely siloed on another. 4. Don't trust blindly. If your agent suddenly asks for a password while reading a random web page, absolutely question it. And 5, keep your software relentlessly updated so you get the patches when they finally do arrive. Now, on the developer side, companies really need to stop relying on flimsy basic guardrails. Layer X is pushing for a comprehensive 5-layer security model. This involves deep context recognition, strictly limiting the scope of what an agent can access in a single session, heavy behavioral monitoring, and strict auditing. But the absolutely critical layer here is explicit user confirmation. AI agents should never, ever be allowed to execute sensitive actions like sending data externally without a clear, separate, unignorable window asking the human for permission. We're going to wrap up today's explainer with a lingering, provocative thought directly from the TekinGame editorial team. If we can't trust AI to distinguish reality from fiction, how can we trust them with our digital lives? It really makes you think, doesn't it? As we rush to hand over the keys of our digital kingdom to these incredibly helpful yet undeniably gullible AI assistants, we simply have to demand better security. They're designed to be helpful, not cautious. Until the industry catches up, that caution has to come from us. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Stay secure out there and never stop asking questions.